Hi all, good morning, good afternoon. Hope you are doing well. In this class, we will see what is variable in UiPath Studio, and also we will see how we can use variable to store the values and where we can define the variables and what are the scopes of the variables. Okay, so what we will do, we will go ahead and quickly create one solution explorer, and in this solution explorer we will design one RPA workflow, and we will rename this RPA workflow to called working with variable. Okay, so then in this solution explorer I have renamed to working with variable. Then there will be one RPA workflow and main.xml files. Okay, in this I will go with the manual trigger. Then what exactly I'm trying to achieve this workflow. In this workflow I want to create one workflow which will going to read one doc which has been stored inside my OneDrive, and once we'll read that doc, or you can say to capture that doc from my OneDrive, then I'll use another activity to read the content from that particular file, and then we're going to convert that particular content to a specific language using one of the GenAI activities. Okay, so to do this, first of all I will just let me verify it my file is already been stored inside my OneDrive or not. Okay, so if you go to this my OneDrive, okay, this is the file I have been stored here. Okay, so if you see, this is the file I have been stored here. It's called input file.docs. Okay, then I'll go here, and my very first step will be I will use an activity called get file or folder, which is part of OneDrive or Microsoft 365. Then once you select this, it's going to install the package into my dependency. Now it will establish the connection from my Studio Web to OneDrive. Then I'll going to select the folder. Okay, then I'll just double click on this OneDrive folder, and I'll scroll down. I will look for the file called input file.docs. Okay, so once I've select this file, then the next step is what I have to do. I have to use one activity called read text, because once I have get the file from my OneDrive, now the next step is I want to read the content from that file, right? So if I'll go here and I'll use an activity called read text. Okay, this read text will help me to read the content from the Word document. Okay, and in this activity in get file or folder, if you click on show additional property, you will be able to see one of the output argument variable. So that we're going to cover in the argument session. Okay, so that is been defined here, which contains my file. Okay, so now I'll go to my next step. Here I will provide the file. Here this is my file which is coming from my previous step. Now this read text will return a value. Okay, so after it read all the content from the file which is coming from the previous step and which is stored in the OneDrive, then it will read the content from that file using read text activity. Then it will going to store in a variable is called text. Okay, so once it is stored in the text, then the next step is what I will do. I will use one GenAI activity called translate. If you see, called translate, this one. Okay, which is coming from UiPath GenAI activity package. I'll just select this. Okay, once I'll select this, it will come up into my workflow and it will establish the connection, and also it selected the LLM. If you want, you can change the other LLM also. Then the next step is you have to provide the content, what exactly you are going to translate. I want to translate the content which is captured in my previous text is called read text. Okay, so that is stored in a variable called text. So if you click on this, and you will find this. Okay, this is the output variable, and now you can select it on which language you want to convert your content. So you can select it. So I can select Spanish. Okay, if I'll write Spanish, it will come Spanish. Okay, then once the language is converted from your content to a target language, then this translate will return a variable which contain your converted language content. that is called translated text. Okay, now the time we'll print that and we'll see how exactly the log will come. So I'll use one log message activity, then I can write that message called translated message. Okay, so just for the naming convention I can say translated message. Okay, then I'll go to the variable section, I can capture this message called translated text. Okay, and log label I can give info. Okay, so now we can go for the executions and we'll see so how exactly it is going to read the file from OneDrive. Then it will be read the content from the file using read text, then it will be translate using one of the GenAI activities called translate, then finally it will print the target content in the target language. Okay, so before that I will go to my data manager where exactly all these variables has been defined. So if you go to this data manager, open data manager, if you click on this, here you will able to see these are the variables has been defined. Okay, so one of the variable is called file or folder, which is defined inside your get file or folder. Okay, then text, which is defined inside the read text. Okay, then translated text, which is defined inside your translated activity. Okay, apart from this, if you want to define some more variables based on your requirement, you have to go to this plus icon and you can give your variable name is called my var, and you can give the scope also, you can change the scope. Okay, and here you can define the data type, which data type you want, you can change the data type here. Okay, and you can set the default value and descriptions. Okay, and suppose if you want to delete the variables, you can just delete the variables from here. Okay, so that's it for today. I'll just finally execute the scripts and I will show you the results. Let me go ahead and click on debug on cloud. So once I click on debug on cloud, it will prompt me this is the connection detail for your LLM for your OneDrive. Then I click on save and debug, then my execution will started. Okay, so if you see the log here, the execution has been started. Okay, and its execution is going on. Okay, so now if you see the execution is successful, and if you see the activity, all the activities has been executed successfully. Now I'll back to the log. Here if you see the log translated message is translated the entire content into Spanish language. Okay, so this is Spanish language, the entire content has been converted. So that's it for today. Hope you guys have enjoyed the sessions and I'll recommend you to try from your side. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.